Approaching 11 minutes to 8 on this Tuesday night. Thanks for your company. While we do look at the market movements every day and every night on Money News, it's a bit more rare that cryptocurrency catches our eye. But over the last month, the scene has been very different to the previous few, with the cost of Bitcoin, or the price of a Bitcoin, dropping by almost 20% in that time. So what's going on? Ben Rose is the General Manager for Binance across Australia and New Zealand, and he joins me on this Tuesday evening on Money News. Ben, welcome back to the show.
Good day, Scott. How are you?
I am well. Bitcoin's not as healthy as it was about 2 or 3 months ago. So those who have got crypto as part of their portfolio have seen huge leaps over the last year, and we do like talking about long-term investments. But what's happened across June and July for Bitcoin so far?
Yeah, so short term over June, overall market cap of crypto declined by about 11.4%. And yeah, the big headline was the fall, 19.1% fall in the price of Bitcoin over the month. But you know, as you say, I think the timeframes are really important, right? So over the last year, Bitcoin has doubled returns to investors, and it's not all doom and gloom. We've had BNB is up 86% year to date. We've seen not all coins declining. The TON ecosystem jumped up from the 16th most traded coin to the 6th. So some are doing okay. Overall, it's definitely a bit of a cooler month.
So should investors be worried about these conditions continuing, or is this a potential opportunity for that person who's been sitting on the bench and just watching Bitcoin and maybe making their first investment?
Look, there's no one answer, because it absolutely depends on what somebody's trying to get out of it, what their timeframes are, whether they're a short-term or a long-term investor. So, there's the traditional, what we call the HODL mentality, which is buy and hold on for the long term. So people there are saying, look, the true potential of crypto is in the long-term possibilities. But then you've got the day traders who try and arbitrage different, the volatility from day to day. So I would say for every investor, you need to decide what your priorities are and then where crypto might or might not fit in your overall portfolio.
Yeah, that's good advice. I appreciate that, Ben. So are you seeing the same volume of trade in June and July that you've seen in the past?
So, look, it's definitely up year to date. We saw back when the ETFs got announced over in the US, the Bitcoin ETFs in January, we saw a big increase. The announcement coming out of the US around the ETH ETFs also gave us a bit of a lift. And we're seeing interest in the asset class itself grow. Look, we've got now 3 Bitcoin ETFs in Australia, right? So overall, the year is absolutely up. Week to week, month to month, it might be up, might be down, but we're seeing pretty big increases. And you think about the market cap of crypto right now is about $2.5 trillion.
Yes.
Last year, it was in the low ones. So yeah, overall, definite increase, but certainly a bit of a slower month in June.
We've seen US markets, in particular the S&P 500 and the Nasdaq, hitting highs overnight, and the futures are also looking positive, which I'll talk about in a moment. But the ASX isn't far off its top of its performance either. Do you think investors are seeing that they can make more money in less risky traditional asset classes, or are you seeing especially younger Australians and maybe people overseas attracted to crypto?
Yeah, so in more sort of financially mature markets like this, typically people will start to invest in crypto as part of a diversified portfolio. In more developed countries, they might be looking at it as an alternative to the traditional banking system. So here, certainly, we're seeing investors with a portion of their investments in crypto, and that might be through direct ownership on an exchange like us, or it might be through a more traditional fund provider in an ETF. So yeah, definitely increasing for a number of different reasons, and one of the reasons is pure access, and exposure to the price volatility. But others are seeing a long-term future for this, and now you've got about 12 years of data that the fund managers are able to compare.
Yes.
Compare this as an asset versus others. They're saying, look, this is potentially a long-term investment on a par with other assets, and that's why we've seen some of those big flows go into the ETFs.
And finally, Ben, let's talk about the Aussie dollar. Pretty strong at the moment, 67.5 US cents. And so will the gains for local investors in the crypto market continue, especially if our dollar does creep towards 70 US cents, as what has been predicted by some economists?
Yeah, look, I wish I had the answer to that. I'd probably be sitting on a yacht somewhere. But we're watching really closely what happens to the Aussie dollar and the economy more broadly, because clearly the cost of living crisis really is businesses are feeling the pinch. But what they're also doing is investors are starting to look for alternative asset classes to get some of the returns in. So we've seen that positive in the short term, but we really think of this as a long-term asset class. And so if you think about 1 in 4 Australians right now holding crypto, we think that's pretty bullish for the future.
Yeah, and I think people need to be reminded this segment with you, Ben, is just general advice in particular, and we do seek every one of our Money News listeners to get specific advice on what is relevant to their circumstances, goals and objectives and risk profile, especially when we do talk about crypto. Ben Rose, Binance Australia and New Zealand General Manager, thank you so much for your time on this Tuesday night on Money News.